Hello, Facebook Live. Good morning. It is the 26th. Is 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. on the 26th. Welcome. You're watching the live here or the replay. If you're on YouTube, you're watching the replay on YouTube. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the support. It is 9:30 on the 26th. It is Thursday. We have live jazz tonight in the garden. Let's see if my notification is here. It sure is. Sound check. I don't have my microphone plugged in today. Okay, but the computer microphone is working, so that's great. All right, so it is Thursday morning. Live jazz tonight. We open at 5 o'clock. This weekend we open at 3 o'clock each day, Saturday and Sunday. Anything else special going on, Jamie? Monday night's wine dinner? It's almost sold out. Two seats left. Two seats left for Monday night with wine dinner. I didn't have a wine theme yet. Hopefully, I'll have something today or tomorrow for a wine theme. But for two glasses of wine and a dish for $29, it's a bargain. So that's why we sell out. Some people don't even care what wine we're serving. You get 4 half pours, which means 2 full glasses and a dish for $29. It's one of the best bargains out there. Normally, 2 glasses of wine will cost you, I don't know, $10 to $12 each plus a dish, so you can add it up and you're saving money. So good morning, everybody tuning in. Good morning, Joel from Arizona. If you're tuning in live, drop a comment, hashtag live. I want to share some information on an important phone call I was on yesterday with the county and what might be the foreseeable future. So, unfortunately, and who knows what's happening in any direction, anywhere. So, I'm going to share my information that I found out yesterday on this call. Because the Ulster County Health Department is being very proactive, aggressive, however you want to say it, and they want to sort of do their own type of lockdown, own type of safety issues, own type of however you want to call it. I'll go through the three phases that they were talking about yesterday, because they had the health department on, they had the tourism board on, they had people from the county executive's office on. So there were a lot of restaurants that were invited to this, and I'm surprised not many restaurants showed up on this Zoom call. I'm really surprised not many showed up. So because this impacts us all, and of course Mohonk was there, the bigger ones were there. People with wedding venues were on, because wedding venues, if you have a lockdown with a wedding venue, you are in a lot of trouble, because people book flights, they come in. It's just it can become very tricky than a regular restaurant, and much more complicated, I should say, in a wedding venue than a regular restaurant closing down and doing to-go order. Wedding venue is probably not going to turn into a to-go restaurant, and they have to be busy now calling people and telling them I can't do your wedding next week or the week after. So they were hinting, so they're kind of hinting to us on this call that this is maybe within the next 2 weeks they're going to start doing this. They said that cases are up in the county here, and he listed off some number, 500 cases or whatever. I chimed in a little bit and asked if they were active cases, if it was all PCR tests, how they're counting cases, and how many cycles are running the PCR test at. And of course, he told me that the total number of cases that are being reported in Ulster County are including a positive PCR test. So positive PCR tests can mean several different things. It can mean a false positive. It can mean people are being exposed to something. It might not be COVID and it's picking it up. They could be exposed to COVID. If you've ever looked at the work of Kerry Mullis, he was the founder of the PCR test, and he doesn't advise the PCR test to test for viruses. I've seen some interviews with him. So he does not. He's since passed. He passed November of 2019. He passed, but him and Fauci never saw eye to eye, and he explicitly told Fauci, do not use my test to diagnose for viruses. That's not what my test is for. And of course, the PCR test is what we're using. So I just simply chimed in and said, are we using a PCR test? How many cycles we're running the test? And he couldn't answer me on cycles. In fact, the county health department could not answer me on cycles at all, because cycles play an important part of what you can detect on a PCR. This is why you hear reports of like an avocado testing positive or fruits testing positive, because when you run them at 40 cycles, and even Fauci has There's lots of interviews with him out there explaining how you run cycles on the PCR. If you're running them at 15, 18, 20, you're not going to pick up nearly as much. If you're running at 30, over anything over like 28 cycles, it's just the magnification of it. You're going to pick up anything and get a lot more false positives, the higher you run the cycles at. So that was my first question. Then was how many cycles of PCR test and how many cycles you run the test at. And he couldn't answer my question. I said, it's certain cycles. He actually asked me, well, what do you mean? What is cycles? So I had to explain to the health department about cycles on the PCR test. And he didn't have an answer for me. And then I asked him, I said, we have guests that want to know if antibody testing would help. And he point blank answered me. He goes, antibodies don't work. Point blank said antibodies don't work. So I don't know where he got his information from, but that's antibody theory has been a very positive theory on everything from chickenpox to everything to supporting all vaccines. And he basically told me that antibodies don't work. So there's no supporting evidence. So I was the only one who really asked questions like that. But a lot of people are concerned about what happens if they're going to start shutting businesses down again. So the county wants to come up with their own plan here in Ulster County. They said, of course, whatever the state says is going to go above and beyond it. So if the state wants to lock us down tomorrow, the state's going to lock us down and they have nothing to do with it. But they want to have their own plan in place and be proactive. And he said, realistically, feasibly, we could be 2 weeks away from this. And I'll read the different stages to you right now because I took some screenshots. Phase 1 is containment. Confidential draft is okay. Mandate indoor mask wearing for all situations, every situation, no matter if anything. I guess the CDC says that anyway, whether you're vaccinated or not, everybody should be wearing a mask. Allow social gatherings. Limit social gatherings. Allow remote work wherever possible. Encourage social distancing. So that's just like phase 1, which a lot of people are doing that to begin with. There's a phase 2, slow and reduce density, reduce indoor capacity by 50%, reduce capacity of gatherings to less than 100, 6 feet social distancing, and then of course phase 3, which is all out lockdown, which we've been at before, quote unquote, starve the virus. So they put out this plan to do this on this call yesterday. So I think they're kind of prepping us for what is probably going to be our future here. They were, they kept emphasizing how many cases, and that's why I chimed in and said, what are you constituting as a case? So, Susan's saying, good morning. Yes, I have seen that info on the man who created the PCR test. Yeah, Kerry Mullis, Mullis, I believe is his name. I have some interviews that go back with him from 2000 that I've seen. I've actually saved the interviews because you never know when that stuff gets taken down. So I've saved a lot of his work whenever I can find it out there. It is out there, and they are taking it down whenever it's posted. So, but I did save some of that. So that's the county is being proactive, and they keep saying safety first, and they want to come up with a plan, and they're going to come up. They do have a plan to put into place here. So there's a lot of details that go into it. Without me going into all the details of it, I'm just giving you a basic overview that they do have a plan and they're ready to start initiating it in as early as 2 weeks. So, of course, the last phase is the full-out lockdown, so that we have gone through before. And I simply chimed in. I said, well, is there anything new that we can be doing? Because this lesson we've done in the past doesn't seem to be working, and we're back in the situation again, it seems like. Is there anything that we can do that's new? And move forward with this. Just some food for thought. I don't know. I wish they would but mention health and mention, all the important things that build our immune system. I wish they would mention that, but that seems to be none of the narrative anywhere. And it's unfortunate because what you put into your body makes a difference. It really makes a difference. So getting exercise, getting sunlight, vitamin D, all that stuff makes it. I mean, you all know that eating fried food versus eating an apple is going to make a different immune response in your body, totally different immune response in your body. Eating farmed salmon versus wild salmon is a massive difference. All the toxins, all the stuff your body has to digest and can absorb and keep around in your body, all the mercury. I mean, farmed salmon is notorious for all kinds of toxins in it. Your body's going to respond to that differently. Everything you put into your body knows it's either going to live better or not live better. I mean, there's no sort of like, oh well, you're eating a couple donuts right now. We won't react from those few fried donuts with all that white sugar and white flour and unnatural food. Your body knows one or the other when you put it on a cellular level. Your body knows one way or another. It's either life or death for them. They either gear up and are on guard, or they're like, wow, you're giving me some really good food right now for us to keep doing what we need to do properly. So exercise is a part of that. I talked the other day about how I have not had any sniffles, coughs, anything in 3 years since I started running every single day. And when I used to get sick, um, I would go out and go for a run, even if it was for a mile or 2 miles, sore throat, achy, this or that, just to get my immune system moving and activated. Rebounders are extremely effective for building your immune system, getting your lymphs pumping, and rebounders. If you want to look up rebounders and the science of rebounding, those little tiny round rebounders, you just get your lymphs pumping every day is very, very, very beneficial for you. Very beneficial for you. So I'd like to see some more varied approaches that the mainstream media is taking, but they're just not doing that. And I know you can't patent like sunlight and broccoli and things like that unless you make it GMO. Then it's patentable, and then it's a different story. But the stuff that can help make a difference on a daily basis in everything in our lives, the healthy stuff isn't patentable, and they really don't push it because there's no money behind it. I never, years and years ago, when I went to my doctor when I was in my 20s, late 20s, I was on meds, like 6 different meds, high blood pressure. He wanted to put me on high cholesterol medication. He wanted to do a bunch of things. I was on acid reflux medication. It wasn't even working. They wanted to operate. They prescription deodorant. I mean, I was a mess. And I started reading books on nutrition. Some of those books that are right behind me there on my other bookshelf. So I started reading some books on nutrition and understanding that, hey, everything you put in your body counts and matters. And literally within, like, I argued with my doctor because he's like, you need cholesterol medication. I didn't know much back then. And I was like, listen, I don't want to take any more medications. I really don't. He argued, and he goes, I will give you 30 days to give me more blood. And in 30 days, we'll decide if you're going to go on cholesterol meds. And of course, most people would just take the cholesterol meds. And I said, no, I think I got a plan. I saw this PBS show the other day. I saw this nutritionist. I think I got a plan. He was like, whatever. And he gave me basic guidelines on eat less red meat, and that was about it. He said, but I really went on full board on and altered my whole diet. And I went from like a 220 to like 160 in cholesterol in 1 month. My cholesterol dropped. And he was like, wow, I don't know what you did, but whatever you did, never asked me what I did. I don't know what you did, but whatever you did really worked. And the cholesterol meds would not have even worked that well. And then he looked at my wife and goes, I got your husband healthy. Remember that, Jamie? He looked at you, Dr. Adler. He goes, I got your husband healthy. Meantime, he knew nothing what I did, never asked what I did, and was trying to push more meds down my throat. And within like 90 days, I was off of every single medication that was given to me, and even including asthma. 28 years of being asthmatic, inhaler, addicted to the inhaler, and totally addicted to the inhaler. I couldn't leave the house without it. Just the mere thought of not having the asthma inhaler with me would prone an attack. But I was severely addicted to it. It takes a lot to get off those asthma inhalers. And there's a great book by Dr. Majat Ali, The Canary and Chronic Fatigue, I think, where he talks about how to really manage asthma and how important your gut bacteria is for asthma. And I went through a cleanse, I went through colonics, I went through all these kinds of things. And sure enough, my asthma was gone. I've not touched my asthma spray since 1999, 2000, maybe 2000. I've been asthma free for 20 years because of what I was putting into my body, how I was cleansing my body, and what I was doing, and starting to exercise. Look, folks, I could literally not even run a quarter of a mile around one lap around the track to save my life. I couldn't do it. I could not do it at all. Without having an asthma attack, just fatigued, without having to stop. I'm 28 years old, 29 years old. 28 years old. This was exactly 20 years ago. Exactly 20 years ago that I went through this. So it's been 20 years, my 20-year anniversary of being asthma free, and eating better foods and better quality. That's what sort of inspired us here at Aroma Time. That is not sort of, it is what inspired us here at Aroma Time, because where I couldn't work for anybody anymore, when they were making me serve, cheap, genetically modified canola oil that's expressed, not expeller express, but hexane gas extracted. And all those just bad other foods, all that farmed factory beef and pork and nitrates in the bacon and all that kind of stuff, and hormones and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't work for anybody, knowing that that was not the answer anymore. Knowing firsthand that I had solved all of my issues through diet. At first, I was very strict vegetarian. First, I did grass-fed meat when I did grass-fed meat when all my cholesterol dropped, and then I switched to vegetarian. Then I went to vegan, and at one point, at the beginning of the restaurant here, I was actually raw. Probably 2006 or so, I was actually practicing a raw food diet, all plant-based raw food diet. And that was when I felt the best. Very hard to keep that diet up because it's easy for me to walk next door right now and go make a pot of rice or a sandwich or something, or pizza. It's very easy for me to do that instead of prepping all this raw food. So that was when I was the healthiest. I felt lowest in weight and just the best energy that I've ever had when I was on a raw food diet. I don't particularly eat vegetarian right now. Well, Jamie and I do eat fish. We do eat wild salmon only. We will have very, very certain selected, very, very selected fish. We really won't eat fish out because I just don't trust where fish is coming from a lot of restaurants unless I really know the chef and trust the chef. We really don't eat beef or anything. I mean, sometimes we'll make a new burger here and we'll taste it. It tastes great, but you'll never ever see us sit down and like eat a burger or eat a steak. We'll taste. We smoke the brisket. I taste the brisket. It tastes great. I love it. Fantastic. But I just won't sit down and eat a plate of it. So I do taste. I'm not super strict as I was in the way, way, way past. We do like artisanal cheeses that come from smaller producers. Cheeses that are actually made by the people that own the cows, as opposed to just buying milk on the market and then making cheese. So this is like a winery. Wineries can buy the grapes and make the wine, or they can grow the grapes and make the wine. Same thing with cheesemakers. They can own the cows and milk them and make it, or they can buy the milk from somebody and then make it. I'm not saying either way is bad or better or bad, because some people have better or worse. Some wineries have fantastic relationships with growers who just specialize in growing top quality grapes. But when you have the grapes yourself on your own land, you have a little bit more control of what's going on. Maybe you're not ready to have all that responsibility, so you find somebody, or in some cases like Yellowtail or some of those big brands, they just buy anybody's grapes. Anybody can have grapes, and they will just buy it. Barefoot Sellers, a lot of these big brands, they'll just buy anybody's grapes that are out there, and they know that they can add colorings and flavorings and sugar to it to balance it out and make the consistent wine year after year after year on anybody's grapes. So, so that's sorry, Joel's saying amazing. Hi Pat, hi Ralph, a bunch of people on. Hi Michelle, hi Kelly, Jennifer, a bunch of people on. So awesome. That's it for today, folks. So again, get some exercise, get some sunlight, drink lots of water. Squeeze some lemon in your water. Detox. Detox is something you always need to keep doing. A lot of people are like, I'm going on a detox next month for 2 weeks. You should always be eating foods that are detoxing your system and doing things that detox. And drinking water, drinking a lot of water is a great way to detox your system, right? It flushes stuff out of your system. So you should always be doing certain things that are always promoting getting rid of stuff in your system, all right? Food combining is super important for energy and fatigue. You don't want all that energy to go to your gut to digest food. And I feel it sometimes right away if I get drowsy and I just know that I've eaten the wrong foods at the wrong time. So a lot of people can be eating great healthy foods, just not at the right time or not in the right combinations. So that's a story with that. All right, folks, that is it. Thank you for tuning in. Live Jazz tonight, 5 o'clock. Wild salmon risotto is back on our menu. We're out of the scallop risotto. We're on a wild salmon risotto, which we did last year very, very successfully. Local corn. We got a huge farm hub delivery in yesterday. I got shishito peppers, green beans, more local corn. We're still selling groceries, so if you want some wild salmon for home, halibut, Alaskan halibut. So there's 2 types of halibuts. There's Atlantic halibut, which is on most restaurant menus, and then there's Pacific halibut. two different price differences. Atlantic halibut is being overfished. It's been overfished. It's not as far as there's. I don't know of any currently any advocacy group out there saying, "Hey, Atlantic salmon is bountiful in supply and population." It's not. It's a cheaper fish. It's fished more often. It's fished more throughout the year. Pacific halibut is very, very quoted. Alaskan halibut specifically is very, very quoted. It costs more money. I think we sell for what, 28 a pound, 25 a pound, Jamie? Or we sell, how much we sell our frozen halibut for? It's like 27, $28 a pound. It is more expensive than Atlantic, but it is a better renewable source of seafood. It is a cold water fish. It's one of the healthier fishes. It's a flat fish. It sits on the bottom. Cold water, very cold water fish. So halibut is awesome. We have sable fish as well. Same price. If you are not living under a rock, then you know that all the prices on food across the board have gone up, and some of them have skyrocketed. Food and lumber and gas, I mean, everything has gone up across the board, right? So I apologize that we had to raise our prices. We still didn't raise them as much as I think we needed to do, because we still want to keep great values for the food that we serve. I mean, people were complaining about, it was so funny when I heard other chefs complain about chicken wings. Oh my gosh, chicken wings are up to this. I'm like, I've been paying that price for chicken wings forever, because we're buying natural organic chicken wings. I've been paying that price forever. Like, that's my price I've been paying, and we're both charging $12 for wings. Like now you're facing the prices I were. And the funny thing was, a lot of these natural organics foods didn't go up as much as the conventional stuff. The commodity stuff skyrocketed. So at one point I'm like, well, I'm still paying, almost the same price for my wings, and everybody else is paying $4.50, $4.70, and they're crying. And I'm like, so then all of a sudden one of my distributors was like, yeah, Marcus, I've had so many restaurants that don't care about quality that are calling us for business right now because they realize that organic stuff could be cheaper. And he goes, I turn people away because if I were to sell to them, I wouldn't have product for you. I wouldn't have the grass-fed ribeyes for you. I wouldn't have, the duck wings for. I wouldn't have that for you. So it's not right for me to just open an account, because I know these people are just price shopping. They're just buying the cheapest possible products, like they've always done for years. That's their business model. Buy the cheapest products. Make a trip to Restaurant Depot, call Cisco, beat up U.S. food sales rep, PFG, buy the cheapest possible product and make the most out of it. He goes, I don't want to deal with people like that, because I know when the commodity products drop again, that they're not going to be a customer of ours. So they're going to just follow the cheap trail right on down. He goes, so, and I need to be able to supply people like you, Marcus, that care about the quality and that'll always pay extra for quality. Joel, yeah, Fukushima is a disaster, and it's not in the media at all, really. It is really, really a disaster. It is a mess. As far as seafood, my really true opinion on seafood is, like, there's really no clean water out there anymore. It doesn't matter where you're at, what part of the ocean, what lake. There's very, very few clean bodies of water. We've really done a number on our water globally, and it's a shame. It's unfortunate. And our ground too. Our ground too is just a disaster. The soils, the breakdown of the soil, what we've done with monocropping. You look at the Gulf of Mexico dead zone, which is really never in the news, never talked about. The dead zone just grows by miles and miles constantly. It's all the agricultural runoff through the Midwest of the United States that gets into the Mississippi and then goes right down the Mississippi Delta and just gets dropped off into the Gulf of Mexico. And it's such a toxic part of the water there. It's all the stuff, the animal manure, all the herbicides, pesticides, glyphosates, everything just runs right down and gets dropped off into the ocean. And nothing can live there in the dead zone. That's what they call the dead zone. Nothing. I mean, the oil leak, the BP oil leak a few years back was nothing compared to the dead zone. And there's no talk about what's going on in the dead zone. There's no talk about that. There's no, legislation, things like that, for all these massive farms that are just producing so much stuff in a unsustainable way, spraying chemicals, doing all this kind of stuff. There's no, I mean, this is not part of the dialogue, and it's a shame, because we are killing the earth. So Pat says, are you vegetarian now? Pat, I'm mostly vegetarian. I do eat a little bit of fish, wild salmon. I do do a little dairy, but I really, really prefer to eat vegetarian. I mean, I'm basically vegetarian. I do taste meat because we cook meat. I do enjoy the taste of meat. I do enjoy, so when something comes off the smoker, like chicken or something, I will taste it, brisket, things like that. I do that. But I am primarily vegetarian. I prefer, you'll never see me go out and eat meat. You'll never see me go out and eat fish. I just don't trust a lot of fish sourcing. So I really have to know the restaurant, know what they're serving to really eat any type of fish out. I will eat lobster. I do like lobster, so if it's lobster out, I will eat lobster. Um, but I know all the cheap ingredients that restaurants use, so I'm kind of careful when I go out and what I do, and I know, and it's lose usually a never it's usually a lose situation if I'm just going to like even a nicer restaurant because I know they're using cheap GMO oil in the fryers. I know they're cooking with just cheap canola oil, olive oil mix. I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of what all these restaurants do. Nobody takes the time to research and understand, or they want to spend more money for it. It's just more of a business model for them. It's not a passion like it is for Jamie and I. Um, Jamie and I are more passion based, and the food that we eat ourselves is the food we're serving you. So that's how we. So yeah, so pescatarian, yeah, more of a pescatarian, absolutely. I really like wild salmon. Really like wild salmon. Um, so, like lobster too. Like scallops. Love scallops. So that is it. Ralph's saying I have to message you. Yeah, if you're free, Ralph, to talk, you can call me right after this as soon as I get off here. So that is it, folks. Um, that is it for today. Be safe. Eat healthy. Do the right thing. Eat healthy. And that's it. We'll see you later. Everybody, thank you for the support. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Oh, scallop risotto was delicious. Okay. So, yeah, so the scallop risotto is gone. It's now wild salmon risotto. But message me because if I do have scallops around or something, we can easily make that. So just let me know. So we usually buy frozen scallops. So I could, if you let me know a few hours at a time, I would be happy to accommodate that. Just but message us, call and speak to me. All right, folks, that is it. Everybody have a great day, and we will talk to you later.